How's everybody doing? This is Frankie O'Hearn, the Irritated Irishman. And I'm just doing this video really just to. I originally was going to do it to apologize to Dana White about something I said on another one of my videos, but I'm really doing this to put to rest all this fucking tough talking bullshit, trash talking that's been going on since the 40s with boxers. All right? I mean, it didn't even start with Muhammad Ali. Okay? I mean, Jake LaMotta used to do it to everybody. And just to prove it to you, Lou Marciano, Rocky Marciano's brother, many times was at the Boston Garden. And because of my Uncle Charlie's friendship with Rocky, and everybody knew who my Uncle Charlie was at the Garden, we used to sit when Lou would come. And Lou would tell me the same stories. Lou would tell me the same stories that Jilly. Now, anybody that knows who Jilly was Frank Sinatra's bodyguard and chauffeur for over 30 years. I met Jilly half a dozen or more times in my life. And Jilly told me every time Sinatra would have a party, the one boxer that he would invite was a guy named Billy Kellogg. Okay? So most of you don't even know who Billy Kellogg is. Billy Kellogg actually knocked out Jake LaMotta. Actually, Jake hung onto the ropes, so technically he didn't hit the mat. So he never considered it a knockout. So Sinatra used to invite Billy Kellogg, fly him in to all these private parties. And here's another true story that Lou told everybody at the Boston Garden one time. All of us that were there together, I was like 14 years old, maybe 13, okay? That when big fights would take place, all these other famous boxers would show up, right? So one night, I forget if the fight was supposed to go from Boston to Chicago or if they were in Chicago and going back to Boston or New York or something, but they're in this bar, and I think it was Boston actually, and these three big guys walk in, and they're Irish fishermen right off the boats. They got done with work. And this one guy gets up and he goes to use the bathroom and he bumps into Jake. Just, not intentionally. And he says he's sorry. And Jake looks up at him because Lou said this guy was gigantic. Lou says, next time you do that, Jake says, the next time you do that to this Irish fisherman, I'm going to fucking knock you out. So the guy says, well, I guess today's as good a day as any. Takes off his fucking jacket, throws it over the chair. Lou says, Jake takes 3 fucking swings at this Irish fisherman, misses all 3 times. He says this Irish fisherman lines up and just goes BAM! And sends Jake flying back into this jukebox. All the other pro boxers there are buying these 3 Irish fishermen rounds of drinks, right? So they say to this guy, hey, do you fight? Like, do you box? He's like, we fight all the time in the piers. $5, $10 a bare knuckle fist fight. Pikey fights. I mentioned this before. But all this martial arts stuff and mixed martial arts stuff, people talk about what everybody calls Jeet Kune Do. It's Jeet Kune Do. Jet Kune Do. Alright? It's not Kung Fu. We say Kung Fu. It's Gun Fu. Alright? Way back before UFC and all this shit, I'm going to show you a picture. This picture right here is 27 years old already. There's me right there when I take a green belt. And here's a kid right off the boat from Vietnam. He was 5'3". Now if you look at me at 5'9", and where my hand is, look at how high this kid jumped. He was a champion Kung Fu practitioner at his age over in Cambodia and Vietnam, and a champion kickboxer. He used to kick banana trees. His shins had scars on you would never want to see. Actually concaved. So, yesterday I left a comment. Somebody called me up about a guy that lived here in Jersey, Seafood Damien Cordisco. Damien was the very first drummer in Skid Row, and before it was Skid Row, it was Godsend, and he was teaching Sebastian Bach, the singer for Skid Row, Kung Fu. Damien was so involved in learning the right way, he went over to China for 1 year For 1 fucking year, he lived in China, okay? And he paid to live over there, to live with monks to learn. He had the right to bring you to undisclosed locations in New York that didn't even have billboards on them, where they taught traditional Wing Chun, Kung Fu, and all kinds of other forms, Jeet Kune Do and everything else, okay? But I tried to go in by myself one time without Damien, and these two Chinese guys, stood in my way like this. And I tried to move past them, and they just kept blocking me. So finally, I figured, fuck that. I know enough. I'm just going to walk my way in, push my way in. No fucking way. So Damien had the right to do that. Why? Because not only did he learn in China from real Shaolin monks, okay, but he graced the cover of Kung Fu magazine not only once, but I think twice. So he had the respected right to do that. He later died of an overdose years later, which was very sad because he had everything to live for. But everybody talks about this mixed martial arts, or, oh, I teach Jeet Kune Do. First of all, you can't teach Jeet Kune Do. It's a mixture, and it's whatever that mixture is. It's whatever you take from everything and whatever you leave out. That's you can't think in Bruce's skull and know what he was thinking. You know, he had his Wing Chun, he had his boxing, he had jiu-jitsu. Danny Iansanto bring over the elbows and the ornice, the screamer sticks to fight with. And that's where Bruce got that from. That's why Danny was one of his prized students. Like I said before about reading a book and getting fucking educated, let me show you something. These are the books we used to have to read. Okay? This, you cannot talk about Kempo unless you know about Matoshi. Alright? Read a fucking book and get educated. These books are old. These books go way back. When I used to bare knuckle fist fight in South Boston when I was a kid and get my fucking ass kicked and come back to Jersey, and then after a while you start to, the reason I got to meet all these people, everybody goes, why don't you write a book? Your dad was in the government. He later was found dead. You know, you worked with Stevie Ray Vaughan. I can show you pictures of Stevie Ray, Greg Allman, everybody. Well, guess what? I am writing a book. I can tell you all about guys in Boston, New York. I've done it before in these videos, and I got tons more. You can't talk about traditional karate. You got to have a book like this. Ed Parker, Pai Lum, Daniel Pai, who is a Kung Fu master here in the tri-state area. People don't even know who these people are. And they talk about learning all this MMA, all this jiu-jitsu and Brazilian jiu-jitsu. Before you knew it, every karate school goes, oh, we're teaching Brazilian jiu-jitsu because it was the hottest thing out. It was Roman Greco wrestling with a little bit of Japanese jiu-jitsu in it. That's how they got Brazilian jiu-jitsu. There was no capoeira in it. Capoeira is a Brazilian dance and a martial art together. There was no capoeira in it. It was Greco wrestling, Roman wrestling mixed with a little bit of Japanese jiu-jitsu, Nippon Kempo jiu-jitsu. That's what it was. And then you get these guys from Dagestan now, and they have their Sumba, which is amazing too. So all this tough talking bullshit, there's always going to be someone out there tough. There are guys walking the streets. Lou Marciano and my uncle, when we used to go to boxing matches at the Boston Garden, used to say, we're going to go see a cage fight. I didn't know what a fucking cage, that's a cage fight. Yeah, boxing match. They called it cage fighting back then. So, learn your history, and all this shit. Connor's always going to be great. He always was. He's a great fighter. He just, you know, shit talk sells. Ali did it. Jake LaMotta did it. But you know, it's just time to get out there and just do it. Take away the fucking cage. Take it the fuck away. Or go back to the olden days where anything goes until it really has to be broken up. Now, a guy gets beat on a little bit and it's mommy, the fight's over, and the ref said that's enough, that they've had enough. When the guy hadn't even tapped. They're just covering up. You know, Connor tapped. What's out of choke? No. A choke is if the guy passes out and he's sedated, it's from side to side the carotid artery. That's a choke, a stranglehold. You know, this is what they call what he did. Khabib was supposed to be a rear naked choke. All right, that's more of an impact choke. This is a strangle. When you grab someone like this in a headlock and it's side to side with their neck sideways and they get lightheaded and they pass out, this, you gasp for air because your windpipe gets crushed. But this is what makes you pass out and lightheaded, your carotid arteries. So nobody knows what the fuck they're talking about. You get all these tough guys, and everybody's got an MMA school. Oh, we teach the best MMA. We teach this, we teach that. I'm walking through New York a couple weeks ago, and his school's all over the place. People wear t-shirts, and I'm stopping to talk to them just to get their view. Oh, do you want to learn the real thing? Come train with us. Oh, everybody's got the fucking answer. When almost 30 years ago, I was doing this fucking shit. Nippon Kempo Jiu-Jitsu with mixing up with Kung Fu guys just to see what everybody else had. Because that's how you get Jeet Kune Do. You mix it up. Mixed martial arts. Learn 3 or 4 forms. Alright? Find a kukra or kukri that the Gurkhas used. I have 2 traditional ones. I had a real Spitsnaz, Russian Spitsnaz guy, retired, that made his way over here because he wanted to live in America. And it was so hard to get inside his head. And finally, for 4 weeks, he showed me, right? My father showed me. I still got my father's K-bar, Marine K-bar knife from when he was in the Coast Guard and worked for the federal government. He used to carry a K-bar knife with him and hold it like this, like a real military knife. Block and cut. Make figure 8s with it. These fucking guys talk shit all the time, and it's time for it to stop. Get in there, get some fucking knuckles you can move around that are fucking broken in half. Alright? Cut back here for 2 discs to be taken out. Screws in your neck. Then talk fucking shit. Alright? Or talk about days when you had bare knuckle fist fights in the Bronx or in South Boston, Chicago, and things like that. Then talk shit. Alright? But don't go to some MMA school and come out and think you're a badass motherfucker. You may drop 10 guys, but you may see some guy that's smaller than you sitting in a bar one day minding his business. He bumps into you and you give him a shove and he comes back and fucking flattens you because you don't know that he knew everything Bruce knew, just in a different form. So stop talking shit. Alright? And by the way, the reason you get to meet people like Jilly is because I knew Tony Mottola, who was Sinatra's guitar player, through Harry Leahy. These are all world-renowned jazz guitar players that are world famous. That's what intrigued Stevie Ray, and that's how I became friends with Stevie Ray and Cesar Diaz, through Greg Allman, and because of Tony Mottola and Tal Farlow. They were intrigued by that. They weren't intrigued about talking about Eric Clapton and, you know, all these other people. When they find out that you actually had pictures and sit-downs with Tal Farlow and Tony Mottola and people that worked with Sinatra, that's what intrigued them. Alright? So stop talking your fucking bullshit, MMA stuff. Get out there, fight. Go out there and have a shot of whiskey if you drink after, or whatever you want. Shake hands. Before the fight, go over and hug each other. And beat the fucking shit. May the best man win. You may win 2 times, and then the guy comes back, kicks your fucking ass the 3rd time. Somebody could always be first to foot, or be first to fist, and that's it. You know? All these guys punching, they don't realize that when a punch comes, you can keep your hand open until you make that snap, that fucking snap, but have that leg and breathe out and chamber like Bruce used to and just snap, but do it with your leg. Let that leg fucking drop and that hip drop, and don't extend your fucking arm too far. Once you extend your center, past your center, and you move forward a little bit, you're vulnerable. You're vulnerable to being pulled in by the guy, or you're being vulnerable to going past the guy, and then you get fucking sucker punched. Not sucker punched, but fucking knocked out. Alright? So, read some books, get fucking educated, and stop talking fucking shit, and think that every fucking school out there is the best school there is. All right, because this Savat, this Kali from the Philippines, it's all fucking amazing. Just soak it all in, dumbasses. Frankie the Irritated Irishman, and Gia Miru-Gritch, S. Miru-Gritch to everybody that's got him married to everybody. And I'll talk to you later. Bye.